You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. This is Knightline at Night. Hello, Orlando, and wherever you are listening. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO 9326, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. I am AP Knightline on Twitter. I got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter from the Santa Rosa Beach Studios. And you can find all of our content besides this show and this show on NightlineSports.com. We are talking UCF Knights. Unfortunately, we are talking about our second loss in a row. A 49-50 loss to Memphis. Horrible stuff. All right.
First time in 30 years.
Yeah, I was getting to that. But the one thing that I ask, and I don't, this is the one thing that really gets me. There's two things, maybe three. 798 yards, number one, and we lose a game. How often does that happen? The other thing is three wide receivers with over 170 yards each.
Bananas on offense, man.
How do you lose a game like that? And our quarterback, this is three, so there was three. Our quarterback throws for 601 yards and rushes for another 49 yards, scores a rushing touchdown, and throws 5 touchdown passes. And we still lose the game. Sets a conference record.
Right, American Conference record for total yards and passing yards.
Yeah.
This week.
Two American
AC
records.
Player of the Week.
Of course. Co-offensive player of the week with the other quarterback.
With who, yeah.
Yeah, with the other quarterback. And school records, obviously, as well in there. I can tell you how, though. The defense was horrid.
Rough night.
Yeah. Really bad night for the defense. Ben, you last week said, what was it exactly you said? Because we were talking before the show off air, and I guess we have it wrong. What exactly did you say?
What I said is that this game against Memphis was the biggest must-win game of Heupel's young head coaching career.
Does that carry over to this week?
Well, I guess actually, you know what? I maybe not, because I mean, certainly we don't want to lose three in a row, but this particular game that we just lost, I mean, before we lost it, our goals for the season were, for the most part, in front of us. We still had a chance at making the conference championship game, still had in turn, depending on what else happened, still had a great chance of making that New Year's Six game. A lot of our top goals were still ahead of us moving into that game. Now they're about as, anything can happen. It is 2020, but they're about as far away as I could possibly think of right now of making that conference championship game. So, I don't know.
So we're 2-2 now.
Right.
And we have
1-2 in conference, though.
Yes, and we have 5 games left. So, technically, we're at the midway point of the season. This is it.
Yeah.
It's got to change. If it's going to change, it's got to change now, especially with the 2 L's in a row. Roger, I guess we'll let you talk.
Wow. Well,
sorry.
I will say this. Ben, I do think that this is super important. This particular game is even more important than last game, and here's why. One, if we go 3 games in a row that we take a loss, I totally see this as the season spiraling. So we cannot do that. If we have an opportunity to win, we need to do everything that we can to do that. And as far as where we are today, midway through the season, we've seen our offense sputter against a really, really good defense. And may I remind you, that is the number 1 defense right now rated in defensive efficiency right now. So all those folks talking about that Tulsa game, that's a heck of a defense. Now, this offense, I mean, it was everything that we wanted it to be last week, right? Andrew talked about all the stats. The defense is suffering from a combination of 2020. And the reason I say a combination of 2020 is we've had injuries. We've had people opt out.
Those are excuses, though. Those are excuses.
Is it an excuse,
Yes.
though, when you put freshman cornerbacks out there in the corner and they get taken advantage of?
Absolutely, those are excuses.
Okay.
I think those are excuses, and I don't think that they're valid excuses.
Well, I think
they're reality.
They
man.
are reality, but they're also excuses.
they're adversity that we certainly, unfortunately, couldn't overcome this game. I mean, it is the first time that I can remember in the 6 losses that we have endured under Coach Heupel. He still has a great win percentage with UCF. So this is, in my opinion, is the first time in those 6 losses that have occurred in the Heupel era that I could remember where, honestly, I'm not really looking at Heupel at all on this one. I mean, and it's not necessarily, I don't think that I'm looking at Randy Shannon like, oh my God, there's something wrong with the way you're operating that's on that side of the ball. But certainly, I think for the first time in those 6 losses, this is the time that we can look at the defense and say there was a lot of issues, and we got beat, by a better offense against our defense this particular game. That's the first time I can remember that really happening, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, against Tulsa, against Cincinnati, against Tulsa last year. I mean, these are defensive game plans that against our offense that we just couldn't quite overcome. This time we were going up against it was the first time that I can remember, actually, to put it differently, we got beat at our own game, which was pretty surprising.
Yeah. Well, I will say that our offense is number 1 overall in college football with what's the statistic here? Total offense. And by a pretty good clip as well. Not on touchdowns, we're a little lower than number 1, but for points per game, 636.3 or yards per game. I'm sorry, yards per game. 636.3, and the next one closest is North Texas, believe it or not, 593.6, and right behind them is Memphis at 568.7. And our our defense didn't help that statistics
Certainly
at all, as far as Memphis being that high.
You got to give them a ton of credit, that's for sure. I mean, their offensive game plan was just as good as ours for the most part, 1 point better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Paul and the number 1 and number 2 quarterback rated in the country played each other this week. So
right.
When you're talking about Dylan Gabriel versus Memphis's QB, Brady White, a 6th-year QB, by the way, that never had beaten us before. But the number 1 versus number 2 QB in the nation, the number 1, number 3 offenses in the entire country. Now, both defenses suck, for lack of a better term. But yeah, this was, last week we played Tulsa. Or the week before, we played Tulsa, and they were the number 4 defense in the country. They are now the number 1 in efficiency, and now we play the 3rd ranked offense, and our defense is just not up to the task. So we're not playing scrub teams here, people. Remember this when we're talking about this, and we're talking about 1 point and a 3-point game.
What statistic are you looking at that says that Dylan and the guy from Memphis are 1 and 2?
top-rated quarterbacks. Yeah, and it's actually
QB rating.
Dylan, then Shane, then I forgot about Shane Buechele. Then it's Brady White.
Okay.
Or Clemson, and then Brady White. So 1 and 4. Sorry.
Okay. No, I wondered what statistic it was.
I mean, I would say both defenses probably sucked in this game, but I'm not willing to say our defense sucks.
No, they normally don't.
Our defense, honestly, our defense relies on, and we talked about this week over week. They rely on turnovers. They rely on putting pressure on the offense by through getting the QB rushed and creating turnovers and creating havoc. I mean, and unfortunately, as we've continue to talk about, they're a bend don't break, and unfortunately without the turnovers it just didn't work out this game because we weren't able, besides that one fumble, to really create the turnovers.
Yeah, I'm looking right now here on the NCAA's website, which I like to get statistics from. Passing yards per game, it's Dylan Gabriel, Mac Jones from Alabama, Miles Brennan from LSU, Brady White from Memphis, and then Shane Buechele from SMU. So as far as yards per game, there's lots of stats on here, though. That was the one that I was looking at before. I didn't know what Roger was looking at, so I wanted to check. But go ahead.
Statistics. I mean, one of the more interesting things, and Roger's talked about this a lot, and we talked about what Marlon Williams would do going into the season. I mean, number 1 in yards per game, number 1 in catches per game. I mean, he's been an absolute beast. And Jalen Robinson, I just can't say enough about him. He is, and Roger, I think, accurately described him on the podcast, calling him just a weapon. I mean, he is a dynamic playmaker, and he's also in that top 5 as well for yards per game. So
absolutely, yeah. Number 1 in the country for receiving yards per game with 579 yards so far, being 144.8 per game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, all right, well, that music means that we're going to take a break here, and we will be right back on Knightline at Night, talking a little bit more and pulling statistics from wherever we can find them. We'll be back.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I am Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. We're taking your calls. If you want to call, 844-580-WDBO 9326. Or use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. We're talking UCF football. We're still talking statistics in the break. There are a lot of them to talk about. There's a couple things that happened in this last game that were a little interesting. One thing happened on the sideline after the game that was a little weird. One of our backup quarterback, which is not Mackenzie Milton, Quadri Jones is the guy, went kind of after our kicker because our kicker was throwing a temper tantrum on the sideline. Here's what Josh Heupel had to say yesterday actually, about that scuffle. Here's what he had to say.
I think you got to have competitive composure. That's everybody that was involved there, but it's us as an entire football team too. And each individual player playing with their unit, playing with the entire group, 3 phases of the game, playing together, and understanding. Daniel, his one play that made a difference in the football game, everybody saw that late in the game, but it's a series of one plays that make the difference in the football game. And play one is just as important as the last play of the game. There's things that each and every one of us got to do better to make that outcome be different. I think, for us inside of the locker room, that's why you never take winning for granted. It's hard to do. And when you're on the wrong side of it, you got to find a way to be a little bit better. And just in talking to our group, it's the urgency that you prepare with. And that gives you your best opportunity to go out and play your best football on Saturday. This is a competitive game. Not everything's going to go your way, but at least you've done everything to make sure that the brother next to you is in the best position to be successful too.
All right. So I assume from hearing that it has been taken care of. I don't expect anybody to be kicked off the team like fans were calling for on message boards and Twitter and all this stuff. I don't expect anything like that. Everybody was like, kick him off the team, which is ridiculous. You don't kick somebody off the team because they have an emotional moment in an emotional game. You know what I'm saying? Football or any sport, really, but football even more, because the testosterone that's going on and the adrenaline that's going on is a emotional game.
Yeah, and you're hitting. It's everything's at a higher level, and especially in that moment. Unfortunately for all of us, it was a bad look overall. We're talking, what happened with Quadri, certainly with Obarski throwing his helmet and throwing a fit on the sideline. I feel for the kid that he missed the kick and all that, but you got to have I like that word, competitive composure that Heupel used there. It was a bad look overall. I'm glad it's handled now. And you're right. Nobody needs to be kicked off the team, but it needed to be dealt with. That cannot happen again because it was all over. Yeah, all over the place.
Really,
the next day.
What can't happen though? And we don't know what was said in that argument. I've heard different accounts of it from people that aren't those two guys, but I have heard accounts of it. But I believe Quadri Jones probably went over to the guy and said, "Hey, don't throw your helmet. Don't pitch a fit here, on the sideline. You're making all of us look bad, or you're looking like a fool or something." I assume that's probably what he said. I would have said that if I was on that sideline and one of my teammates did that. I would have gone up to him and said, "What are you doing? You're acting like a fool. Yeah. You're acting like a third grader. It ain't cool to do that on the sideline." For many reasons.
Well, if that's what he did say, then I'm okay with it. A lot of people were calling for his head, but I don't think anybody had any context on it.
Yeah, nobody knew anything that he said. They can assume what he said. I'm assuming what he said.
Nobody knows except for those two guys and the other teammates around him.
Right. So, who knows what was actually said there and all that. I've got a couple more clips that we'll get to in a little while here. We're getting up close to another break again. So, you got anything there, Ben? You want to say really, really quick?
I will say one quick statistic, since we were talking statistics earlier, and you'll appreciate this one. Dylan Gabriel is the first FBS quarterback with multiple 80-yard touchdown passes in a single game since Texas Tech's Patrick Mahomes on November 25th, 2016 against Baylor. So he has done something that about 5 years ago your boy did.
Well, that's somebody to compare yourself to if you want to compare yourself to somebody in sports for sure. So that's good. That
was an interesting statistic that I saw.
Yeah, it is an interesting. Completely. Patrick Mahomes does such incredible stuff. He made that little run the other night that was absolutely crazy last night. All right, I think we're going to take a break here. I was waiting for that music, but I don't hear it. So I know we have to take a break. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night. There it is. Thank you very much. All right, we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this. We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys? My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. I am Andrew Phegley. We're brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. And we are live from the Dever Team Studios, by the way. I usually say that first. Call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. We're taking your calls if you want, 844-580-WDBO if you would like to comment, 9326. Or on the WDBO app. I am Andrew Phegley, AP Knightline on Twitter. Big Ben Stout is with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps is with me as well at Night Bengal. And he is coming out of Santa Rosa. Oh, no, you're not in the Santa Rosa Beach studios tonight. You're in Nashville.
That's correct. I'm right across the street from Belmont University, and Vanderbilt University is right behind me, often called Vanderbilt, but it's actually Vanderbilt. I learned that while I was up here.
Okay. Like we needed to know that, but whatever.
Random facts with Roger.
With Roger.
Hot takes and random facts. That's going to be your new intro. Hot takes and random facts, Roger. That's funny. All right. So talking UCF football, the next game that we have is Tulane coming up, by the way, which we are a 19.5-point favorite coming into it at this point. With the
Does that
over-under
matter this season at this point? I mean, seriously.
With the over-under being 72.5. So, yeah, it matters. If you're betting, it matters. If you're betting on the game, if you're putting money on it in Vegas, it matters. Of course. I know a lot of people have lost money on UCF this year, though, for sure. No question. All right, so speaking of UCF, I want to get a couple things over with from last week, and then we'll move on to Tulane a little bit. Here is what Josh Heupel had to say. He was asked, did you see anything new after you watched the tape? This was from yesterday.
Obviously, we got them in some third and fourth down situations, and in those critical situations, you got to find a way to get yourself off the field. Sometimes we just lost a one-on-one matchup out on the perimeter. Sometimes there were penalties. Sometimes there were assignment busts. And at the end of the day, we got to be collectively better to get off the field on that side of the ball. But it's everybody. We got to play together. I said it after the game. We haven't played complementary football yet together as a football team, and you got to do that, and that's how you win close games.
I like that the whole team hasn't played a single game all together yet.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially this week. The offense, played awesome. The defense, they could have stayed in the locker room as far as, that's basically what happened.
We talk so much about Heupel's coach speak. He says all the time, play for 60 minutes, all three phases of the game. This week it was pretty true.
When he loses, though, and we haven't heard him that much, he's still only got five losses or six losses
now, yeah.
Still, he talks a little bit more truthful when that happens.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
This one here that I'm going to play, this next clip, is Dylan Gabriel on basically what his message is to his teammates. Listen closely on this one. You're going to hear a little bit of maturity, maybe that you haven't heard from Dylan Gabriel before.
Everyone on our team has to look ourselves in the mirror and say, how can we be better ourselves, and then how can we be better, collectively as a team. But once we do that, there's no time to sulk. Every week there's a new game. Every day, you wake up and it's a new day. So, like I said, look yourself in the mirror. I'm going to look myself in the mirror and try to be better every single day. This is a big moment of you really see who the true competitors are, who the true teammates are, because it's so easy to be good when everything's going great, but when things hit the fan, who's there to continue to pick up the team? Who's there to continue to fight, And that's why I think the biggest message is look yourself in the mirror. How can you be better yourself? Because I know everyone has a play where they want to take back, and I know I do. And I'll forever take that one on me, because one play away and the game could be different. So I think just looking ourselves in the mirror, being able to play well and continue to do so. I don't care how. We just need to win.
All right, I'm probably the only one that was really distracted by the background noise. I talk about this all the time on my show. If you listen to my podcast, I talk about it all the time.
I think us being around you all the time, we are distracted
what
by it
did
as well.
that sound like in the background?
A roller coaster. It's like when you're
it
going
sounded like
up
they
to
were,
the...
either that or on a train, right?
To me, it sounded like there was he was underneath like a aluminum roof when it was raining really hard outside.
That's what it was,
Yeah.
obviously. But I was like, is he on a train?
Like, what
is he on the subway? We don't have a subway in Orlando. So anyway,
we don't have one in Memphis either.
Yeah. Anyway, that was here. So
okay.
It was raining out there, obviously, and they were under. Who knows where? I think they were in the. They were probably in the practice building, and it's got a metal roof or something on it. So, the indoor practice facility. Anyway, quite a bit of. I guess that would be leadership right there. That maybe we haven't heard from him before.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of flashes of it this year, and a lot of maturity on and off the field. But certainly, he's taken it on himself. But I liked some of the balanced things that he said there. Just he was talking to his teammates, and he was putting it on himself as well. Like he was kind of like a balanced approach of how he wanted to fire up his teammates, and he's absolutely right. I mean, there's a chance, unless something crazy happens, our goals may not be able to be reached this year, just because we have to have a lot of dominoes to fall in our favor. But he's saying, guys, if you're a true competitor, we're going to go out and we're going to win every week for us, and not for anybody else, for us.
Roger?
Well, I was going to say this. Ben kind of asked about some statistics here, right? So when we're talking about Dillon Gabriel, one of the consistent things I've been hearing is he hasn't won the close game or the big game, right? So last season, the closest game that he won, because most of them that we actually played that were close, we lost. But the one game that he did win was Tulane, and that was a very, very close game, and their offense is supposed to be better this year, so I expect that as well. To your original question, Ben, over the past 3 years, Heupel has had 3 wins when the margin is 1 score, and 6 losses by an average of 4 points per game.
Yeah, so
he's lost more, like it sounds like by double more close games than he's won, but
yeah. All right, well, that's an interesting stat. Here's what Josh Heupel had to say on Tulane.
They do a great job of running the football, really efficient. I think they lead the league in rushing average per game. On the flip side of it, they do a good job with their front seven of trying to eliminate the run game as well, make it difficult to run. So for us, we got to stop the run. We got to be efficient in the run game. We got to stay in manageable situations on offense. We got to be able to play with some of our tempo. Defensively, we got to do a great job of eliminating the run game. And then their quarterback's done a really good job of scrambling some of the pass downs. And we got to do a better job of our rush integrity and make sure we keep them bottled up.
All right, so if you look at Tulane versus the season leaders of Tulane versus UCF, so their quarterback M. Pratt is what ESPN said. I don't know his first name. It doesn't really matter. But he is 32 of 70.
He's M. Pratt from now on.
Yeah, 32 of 73 for 475 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That's a little different than what Dillon Gabriel has going on. 122 for 188 with 1,756 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Quarterback play, I don't think it's very close.
Well, the one thing, I mean, Andrew, the one thing I am concerned about, though, and what you heard Josh say, is that they run a lot, right? And one of our weaknesses has been that, and a mobile quarterback has been a weakness. So the one concern I have, obviously, passing yards and passing efficiency, not as concerned. More concerned about the fact that, we have someone who can run to the outside, and they have a strong running game.
Okay. Yeah. For sure. Their running back has 44 carries for 309 yards on the season, 2 touchdowns. And then they put Otis Anderson up here. And when you put one of our running backs up there versus the committee that runs the ball here at UCF, it doesn't compute. So 60 carries for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns for Otis Anderson. Also, it's a little uneven when you look at receivers as well. Their leading receiver, 7 receptions for 144 yards, and ours is 45 receptions for 579 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Marlon is averaging more yards per game than this guy has on the season.
The entire season. Yeah. So I don't know why they put him up here. I mean, that sounds like one game for Marlon Williams.
Well,
not even. It's like it's a quarter.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. They're averaging yards rushing 197. So it's all right. We're averaging 232 though. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they got a pretty solid defense. And
actually, no, I said that backwards. We're averaging 197.3. They're averaging yards rushing 232.0.
Yeah,
so they are rushing the ball. They're not throwing it very much. 154.8 to our 439.0. So
yeah,
that's pretty interesting.
What's their time of possession, Andrew? Because that's a big indicator for them as well. Because they gave SMU fits, and SMU, obviously 17th ranked team in the country, plays very similar to us and plays bombs away, and we're able to hold SMU to a 37-34 OT loss.
You would ask about the one stat that I do not have in front of me. The one. I don't know.
Let me see if I can find that while you guys
move on. It's probably, I don't know. Is that even do they keep that stat? I'm sure they do. I know they do, but I don't know if that is on.
Yeah, time of possession, I've got it here. SMU 31-01 and Tulane 28-59. So it sounds like that SMU wasn't being as efficient, although they did put up 581 total yards on Tulane, and Tulane still kept it close.
So Tulane's average time of possession for the season so far is 28 minutes and 4 seconds per game.
Just under.
And I bet you if I go back and go to UCF, I bet ours is a lot less than that because it doesn't matter with our offense. We can score in 10 seconds, so it doesn't matter. I don't like that stat.
Well, the only time it really matters is if we're facing an offensive juggernaut, like the only
Memphis
time
that
it's it's just
yes,
only because at the end of the game, I mean they're having to deal with a lot of talent on the other side of the ball, and our defense is. I don't want to say that they.
It was 26 minutes versus 33 for Memphis.
Right. It wasn't a huge difference. It was just the amount of plays by both teams.
One game that I can remember where time of possession really mattered was last year. Was it last year in the bowl game or the year before? Yeah, no, it was the year before in the bowl game against LSU.
LSU, yeah, the Fiesta Bowl in 2018.
And they took up like 2/3 of the game.
Right.
Which was like it was like 45 minutes or something like that. It was crazy.
Right, and most of that was in the second half too, and it just really wore us out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, Roger, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I just don't most of the time that statistic does not matter to us.
The only thing I was concerned about was whether they were playing O'Leary ball, especially with SMU playing very similarly to what we play as far as the air raid offense. So,
yeah, okay.
That O'Leary ball, that's the way they beat Houston, and everyone else was controlling time of possession. And
got to take a break. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night. Hey, Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. This is Andrew Phegley. Ben Stout and Roger Phipps have joined me. Brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs at 386-690-1636. Talking UCF, I almost said Temple, but it's Tulane coming up.
One of those T schools.
Yeah, one of those T schools, all the same, I guess. Coming up at 2 o'clock on ESPN2 on Saturday. So we went from ABC to ESPN2. That's where we've been.
And then the following week, I think we're on ESPN Plus against Houston. So
that is correct.
We're sliding a bit, but that's okay.
I think that
We'll
was probably scheduled at that time. But, yeah. So, yeah. No time for that one yet, though, I don't think.
That's right. Let's focus on Tulane. Hopefully our team is focusing on Tulane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so do you want to do some score predictions? Roger, you mind starting?
Well, I was close last week on our score. I said 52, and we ended up with 49. For this week,
unfortunately, you said like 32 for them, so that was the flip side.
I was on track until the second half.
You're
so
right.
We
you
were good.
Looking good.
All right. It seems like Tulane tends to have closer games, but I think our offense is really gonna turn it up. So I'm going to say for them a 48-28 score.
I had something very close to that. I think I agree with you, Roger, on our offense is going to remain on fire and light it up this week. I think our defense figures a lot of things out. They get some turnovers, 52-28.
Wow, okay. I'm going to say 50-32 or something like that. I don't know, 50-30 something.
All right, yeah,
we're all bunched close together.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I think that we win this at home. Now the line is showing me minus 20 for UCF, so a 20-point favorite. Something must have changed in the last. Well, they must have been listening to us. I don't know.
They believe
talking UCF up. They were listening. They heard me talking about how their quarterback hasn't really thrown for that many yards, so maybe that was it.
They just heard all the stats and were like, "Oh, we messed this one up."
Yeah, I don't know. It's changed somehow.
I think really it was just the money started flowing towards UCF.
Probably,
that was really what happened. We affected the bettors.
Probably, yeah, and that's good. I have no problem with that. All right, so yeah, I mean, if for some reason we don't pull this one off, we're in really bad shape. I will say that. We're in a place that we haven't been in for quite a while, and that would probably be 2015 at that point.
Yeah,
we haven't lost 2 games in a row since 2016, Scott Frost's first year here. I don't know if he lost 3 games in a row. I don't remember that part of it. But 3 games in a row is not a place that we want to be, period.
Yeah, we know none of our guys do. None of our coaches do. I think they're going to be coming out ready, with fire in their eyes and clean up some of the mistakes they made on defense and keep it going on offense. I think this is going to be a good week for us to bounce back.
Roger, a quick final thought.
Well, the good news is their receivers and their quarterback aren't much of a passing threat, so I think that plays to our strengths. I do think we'll play well. I think the guys are focused and they'll make it a statement win. So I think we win big.
All righty. Well, let's hope that that's the way that it goes. So we will be back with you next week. Thank you very much for listening to Knightline at Night.